Shalom, shalom. See how the sound is? Shalom, shalom. Sound is good. Screen is looking good. All right. Before I begin, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to our teachers, the apostles, and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to the brothers laboring worldwide in truth and sincerity, and salutations and blessings to the elect, believing on the words of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. This is Brother Dawada here at the Church of Birmingham, Alabama, coming at you with another lesson. Lord willing, is edifying. And yeah, we at the end, you know. This place is truly circling the grain. And there's no hope for the people. So as these store closes, these plants closing continue to increase, as everything we see occurring is magnifying to the point where it's going to be the end of this man's age. You know, you go into that word world in St. Matthew 24:3, it's a particular period of time. And that's what we're seeing, the period of time in which Esau's end is being made manifest. So real quick, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, and when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So that's what we're seeing. The end of Esau's world, man. Now, I have this video from the beloved brother, Hope for Elect 3. Babylon is circling the drain. We're going to play this video. We got a couple articles, and Lord willing is edifying. Because see, we in beautiful monumental times, as the scriptures say, that living to see the fall of our enemies. You got the government getting ready to shut down September 30th, and it ain't by happenstance that coincides with what the Day of Atonement, man. you know, that's Yahawashi magnifying himself, in them before us, man. He's causing a lot of turmoil, a lot of confusion, a lot of angst with these wicked ass elites, man. And their best well laid plans are not coming to its flourishing. It's not blossoming in the things in which they thought it was going to blossom into, man. So let's play the video.
Sometimes I just feel like it's time to give up on this country. I mean, it is just being ripped apart every day. The people are divided more and more. The cost of everything is getting higher and higher. And it doesn't really feel like there's anything to save at this point except for nostalgia, things from the past. Because the truth is, the best days of our country are behind us. Whatever the future is going to be in this country is going to be a long time from now, because all we know is that just prolonged chaos is what's ahead of us. Because the question has to be asked now, who even are we as a country? Can you even tell me what an American is? Can you even tell me what it is to be an American? This country means nothing anymore. Like I said, the America that we knew is a memory. When we think of what America is, we're talking about the past. A past that's usually created because it never actually existed. The idea of America's greatness is an idea only in our heads, because the history of our country is so marred with brutality, both on people from abroad and people in our country. There's no time of plenty. There were times that were easier, sure. But where was this great time where all Americans thrived, where everything was good, where we were a nation at peace? Because in my lifetime, I can't remember a time that we were truly in peace. We're always involved in something somewhere. And in the vast majority of my adult life, over 20 years, our country was at war. Our country was getting involved in other people's problems. Our country played the bully and played the policeman. And you just have to be tired of it at some point. You just have to ask yourself, is this what represents me? Is this who I am? Because the fact is no. And is it who represents you? No, it's not. Most Americans are tired of this. Most Americans want nothing to do with this. Most Americans, deep down, as much as there might be some kind of pride about this country, absolutely understand that it's kind of the villain at this point. I know a lot of people out there understand that, yeah, Americans, they are pretty much the bad guys. They blow everybody up. Yeah, but for a lot of Americans, there's this deep veil of denial that comes through a lifetime of indoctrination. This idea that we are the greatest country on the planet, this idea that Americans themselves have some kind of special power that other people don't have in this world. The fact is, most of us are just completely spoiled and entitled. We don't produce anymore. We don't create. All we do is consume. All we do is consume and pollute any kind of goodness in this world, because our culture is what comes out of Hollywood, what comes out of the movies.
You see? And this is basically the sentiment of the people, you know, that America is finished and these things are being made manifest more and more. All right. Again, you got the government set to get closed, September the 30th. Matter of fact, I got a quick video, just the audio portion because it's on my phone. Just going into that, man. That government shut down. This guy's threatened those jobs that was once going to get furloughed. You just going to get fired, man. Again, this place is circling the drain, and it's evident. Let's play this little sound back.
Workers. Democrats say they're fighting to reverse Met of federal workers. The White House threatening mass firings of federal workers. Democrats say they're fighting to reverse Medicaid cuts and to keep health insurance premiums from going up for millions. Democrats say the White House has refused to meet.
It didn't have the time to meet with Democratic leaders to fund the government and address the Republican healthcare crisis. But Donald Trump, right now, as we speak, is at a golf event. It's outrageous.
The Republicans won't budge. The White House instead threatening mass layoffs of federal workers. In past shutdowns, workers were furloughed and returned to their jobs when the government reopened. But now the administration is directing agencies to consider firing employees from programs that are not consistent with the president's priorities. Democrats called that intimidation, insisting they won't back off their demands that Republicans reverse Medicaid cuts and extend expiring Obamacare subsidies so health insurance premiums don't rise for some 20 million Americans.
The White House.
See? Hey, more trouble, man. And that's basically that cruel Lord that the Lord set up over the Egyptians. Let's grab that real quick. Yeah, you people gonna really see who Esau is, man. When them horns come out even more. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. If the blue letter will work. What is that? 19. Yeah, that's that cruel Lord, man. Ezekiel. Oh, it's like Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 4. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord. Right. So now he's not worried about you getting furloughed. No, he just said just fire them, And there's been many mass firings that's causing trouble and distress on these people, man. So much so when the power is out and the food is scarce, how you think these people are going to react? They're going to be in that brute mind state, dog eat dog, as it were. But that coming from what? This pressure that's being put on the people, man. Again, Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 4. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi, the Lord of hosts. So it's the Lord that's initiating this trouble and distress to the people, man. It's the Lord that's putting this pressure on you. But how is he making it manifest? Through Esau, all right, which is known as the sword of the Lord. Let's grab that. So hey, that's how he know he got a short time, man. He got terms like warp speed, so he's trying to make his enterprise a success. But little do he know he's really playing into the hands of the Lord. See, these devils are quickly running out of time. There is not anything that they can do to. The Lord said you can't add 1 cubit to your height, man. So there's no way for them to extend their power in the planet Earth. Psalms chapter 17 and verse 3. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. See that? From men which are thy hand, O Lord, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. Right? Yeah, these damn devils are setting up what is it? Soft landings for their grandchildren, man. They leaving that substance to their babes. Why? Because they believe that their kingdom is going to continue. Let's just say they call their lands after their name. They don't believe that their kingdom is or they're gonna ever be out of power, man. They've had a long run. Just going back to the statue and the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had. He from the legs all the way down, man. He's had a long run at it. Well, now he's on his last leg, as it were. And these things again are being made manifest through the store closures, the job losses, the distress and the anguish that's on the people. Real quick, let's get Jeremiah. Then we'll get some of these articles. Jeremiah chapter 49. And yeah, you see, prophesy against Edom. And that's something that we were ordered to do, man. Set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it. Yeah, we're telling you, you've been found wanting, and the Lord has now rejected you as king. Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 7. Concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Right. Instead of furloughing the people coming to a compromise, you just say fire them. Yeah, that's your counsel being perished, man. Your wisdom is vanished, and that's how the Lord operates. He took away our wisdom, and we fell as a people. Well, in the same stead, the Lord is doing the same thing to Esau. He's drying up that green bay tree, So now you're operating without wisdom. The decisions that you're making are compromising your kingdom, and you don't even realize it. It says, flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of the Dan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. Yeah, we're in the visitation of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Let's get this word calamity. To see these things again are being made manifest right before our eyes, and it gives us comfort. We can see the end, We can see his kingdom falling. Okay? That word calamity, in the Strong's definition, it says, in the sense of bending down. Yeah, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. See? In the sense of bending down, oppression, by implication, misfortune, ruin, right? You seeing the ruin of Esau, okay? calamity, destruction. Yeah, that's a compound word. You know, the Lord is taking away the structure that this devil once had. You know, so the Lord is bringing these certain calamities upon these damn devils, and it's being made manifest through the store closures, hey, through a plethora of things. You know, the tariffs. So that's something we haven't spoke on in a minute, man. Those tariffs are really getting ready to hit home. He's now set more tariffs out, 100% tariffs on medical. You know, any medical medication that's made outside of the U.S. is getting 100% tariffs, man. Any big trucks outside made outside the U.S. is getting 100% tariffs. What do you think that's going to bring to the people? You know, nothing but hell, torment, calamities. Now, this first article I have say it says Georgia abruptly, and that's another telltale sign. These things are suddenly happening. It's not a warning. It's not a heads up. No, they're suddenly happening. It says Georgia abruptly closes two more factories with 1,100 confirmed layoffs. You see that? Let's click on it, see what we can get out of it. Right. It says Georgia abruptly closes two more factories with 1,100 confirmed layoffs. Georgia economy, a lone bright spot for the United States, is having a rough 2025. Well, why? Because we're at the end of this man's system. Yeah, nothing here is going to be at its height as it once were. Again, come down and sit in the dust. It says more specifically, the state has already suffered the loss of several factories. And unfortunately, the pain isn't over yet. You see that? Evil and only evil. Hey, we can read in 2nd Ezra 14 what the Lord said. Matter of fact, let's just grab it. You know? That's what we're here to do. We're here to grab the precepts, match them with current events, showing you the biblical prophecy is playing out right before our eyes. 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 16, it says, "For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter." So it's going to get greater. You think, hey, the pain is not over yet. It says, "For how much more the world shall be weaker through age." And how is the world weaker through age? Because of who's in power. Real quick. Yeah. Yeah, the people in rulership is causing this place to fail. Yep, Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 4. "The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish." Right, you go into that word languish. One of the definitions there is to droop. So this place was once erect. It was once firm in its standing in the planet Earth, and now the Lord is causing this place to droop. It says the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Right, who's in power? He has everything defiled here, from the water to the food to the mindset of the people. See, everything here is off course. Everything here is upside down. It says because, and it's not just, there's a reason behind it. It says because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Right. Elder Apostle Gabar goes into it often, man. If these devils was just to implement the land Sabbath, we'll have better food, man. But they don't hold fast to that. So now you're seeing how everything is on a decline. It says, therefore, have the curse, who is the curse? Esau, Edom. Therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. And that's the results, man, of this man being in power. The earth is going to have to be burned for this pollution, this abomination to be taken out the way, and the few men left is going to be the elect. All right, let's go back to 2nd Ezra 14. 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 17. "For look how much the world shall be weaker through age." See, everything is languishing. so much more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. See that? Yeah. Evil is going to increase, man. And these are part of the evil. It says, for the time is fled far away, and leasing is hard at hand. For now hasteneth, yeah, it's coming quickly. They out of time. For now hasteneth the vision to come, which thou hast seen. So yeah, it's the Lord speeding up the timeline, man. You know, the Wadi Yahawashi. Back in this article, it says, and unfortunately, the pain isn't over, right? It ain't over, man. Hey, these are the beginning of sorrows, as the scriptures say. Right? Let's go to the next article. It says 13 pharmacies across New York abruptly. See, that's the theme. It's all of a sudden. It's without warning, man. That's what the scriptures say. That breach. Let's grab that. Yeah, that breach ready to fall, swelling out in the high wall. You know why? Because you trust in this fickle system, man. It was all good a week ago. You know, Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 8. Now go write it before them in a table and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever, that this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord. Right. Now in this time, we know that word law goes into a body of prophetic teachings in the messianic age. So they don't want to hear that America is going to end. They don't want to hear a famine is coming. No, they want to hear that everything is going to be okay. And we can't tell you that because it ain't what the Lord has declared. All right? It says, which say to the seers, see not, see that? And to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. See, that's what you want to hear, man. You want to hear everything is going to be okay, but we can't tell you that. We can't tell you that America is going to bounce back. No, because that's not in the will of the Lord. It says, get you out the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. And that's ultimately you want our Lord Yahawashi to cease from before you, man. What is that? St. John 7 and 7. The Lord testified that the works thereof are evil. All right? It says, wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon, right? You trust in Esau and you sticking with it. You know? That's your final stance. Your final answer. I'm not budging. Well, now you gotta receive the same judgment prepared for him. It says, therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. Right, abrupt close. See that? Back in the article, 13 pharmacies across New York abruptly closed as economic downturn intensifies. You see that? Evil and only evil. And these things again are going to increase. You see that word intensifies? You know? Hey, it's intensifying in the wrong direction, but in the right direction for us. Okay? Abruptly closed. It says New York is closing, is losing businesses. Wow. New York is losing businesses left and right as the economic downturn, are we allowed to call it a recession yet, continues to take its toll. Yeah, even after the feds drop the rate, it ain't helping shit. That's just letting you know there's nothing that's going to help America come back, Babylon the Great come back. Now it's on this decline. It was at the height of its power, and now the Lord is bringing this place down. It says first there were factory closings, and let me read that in the parentheses in the quotient. It says, and a lot of them closing. See, New York has also lost its fair share of grocery stores as the year has worn on. You see that from the factories to the grocery stores And now these certain uh, pharmacies being shut down, man. You see? It says, and the Trump administration has poured gasoline. Huh. Yeah, see, gasoline on the fire. That's that cruel Lord. Salakia. It says, and the Trump administration has poured gasoline on the fire by putting 30.2 million in funding for New York for pulling, 30.2 million in funding for New York farms. See that? Evil and only evil. See? It says, unfortunately, the pain is set to continue. Hey, that's a thing. We just read that in the last article. The pain. See, these things are going to continue to increase, man. The Lord is beautifully bringing this place down. It's that Second Ezra 4. Let's grab that real quick. Yeah. Hey, we in some monumental times. That's why, hey, you best believe Esau, he gonna come down with great wrath, man. He's a sore loser. He takes his ball and go home after you beat him by 50. You know? He's a sore loser, so he ain't gonna give up this kingdom easily. Nah, man, he's gonna come with great wrath. Second Ezra chapter 4. I'm gonna start at verse 27. It says, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come, for this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. Yeah, it's full of it, man. You know, we're constantly vexed with the things we see and hear, you know. And hey, we can go on and plenty of infirmities. How Esau's putting things in the food, you know. How the water is tainted, you know. How he's spraying shit in the air to keep you sick. It says, but as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. So this place was a necessary evil, man. But you see that the evil was sown, but the destruction thereof was not yet come. Well, the Lord is making those things grow in the earth now. The destruction, the destructuring of Esau is being made manifest through the way of these job losses again, these store closures. You know, it's going to bring a lot of pain on the people. And you best believe, man, it ain't like they can recoup these jobs. People are having a hard time getting jobs now, man. Okay? Back in this article, it says, unfortunately for America, but not for us. Unfortunately, look at that, 58 million pounds. Look at that. That's a spirit. Hold up. Hold up. Something just popped up on the screen, man. Let me see if I can grab it on this phone. That's heavy, man. Right? 58 pounds of corn dogs and sausage on a stick products recall. You see? Hey, the famine is increasing, man. More calamities. Back to this article, it says, unfortunately, the pain is set to continue. Rite Aid is closing a slew of pharmacies across New York as it sinks deeper into bankruptcy and works to close or sell every pharmacy it has left. See that? That's the Lord, man. You know? It's a beautiful thing. Let's get this next article. And you're going to see a thing, man. Everything is suddenly and abruptly and all of a sudden. Well, that's telltale signs of Yahawashi. California suddenly loses 7 more grocery stores. And that's another thing. You see in the word more. It ain't just that there's 7. No, it's more. You know? It's in addition to. California suddenly loses 7 more grocery stores as economic crisis deepens. See? California is having a rough 2025. Hey, man. And that's something I may have been having a point made to speak to the brothers. We ain't even out of the first year of this guy's presidency. We ain't made it out the first year. And all these things are occurring. So we, like Elder Pastor the Heart say, man, we can't see, going past Nero, man. He's burning this place to the ground. All right? It says California is having a rough 2025. No doubt about it. I like that. Yeah. America is having a rough 2025, no doubt about it. You know? It says with manufacturing jobs fleeing the state in mass and whole companies exiting for greener pastures and even whole industries shutting down. The last thing Californians need was to lose a bunch of grocery stores too. You see that? The Lord said he's going to take away the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. You see? It says unfortunately, and that's a theme, man. These certain words, unfortunately, suddenly, more. Yeah, the fortunes of Esau is heading down the drain. Unfortunately, that's exactly what's happening. As a number of chains and independent grocery stores shut down in response to the deepening economic crisis. See that? Hey, the Wadi Yahawashi. Again, we need these things to occur. We know it's gonna get bad, but it has to happen, as we just read. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good, which is the kingdom of heaven. All right. Now this is the next article. It says Virginia abruptly loses 6 grocery stores as economic downturn accelerates. Again, you can't get these things back. It ain't a grocery store waiting in the wings to recoup what these other grocery stores have lost. No. Okay? It says the economic downturn has even come to Virginia, letting you know this is a nationwide thing. It ain't just reserved to the East Coast or the West Coast. No, it's everywhere. All right? It says for years the Old Dominion has been seemingly immune. Look at that. You thought you was immune. The Lord said no. What is that? Jeremiah, let's grab that. You're not immune. Yeah. Matter of fact, let's get this article. We gonna read this next. It says for years the Old Dominion, that's heavy. Old Dominion, has been seemingly immune to economic problems as its businesses have flourished. And then came the trade war. Beautiful. Hey, the tariffs. The tariffs. It says Virginia has been rocked by a string of painful and embarrassing factory closures that have disproportionately hurt rural areas. And now, unfortunately, the damage is spread to the grocery sector. See that? These 6 grocery stores have recently closed around Virginia, and I see as a theme is that Amazon Fresh and them Kroger's, man. Excuse me. Let me get a little water. That's beautiful. But you're saying the theme is unfortunate misfortunes, calamities, and they're all of a sudden. Okay? This is Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Right, the Lord is paying this place back. Okay? And you got an enemy. You're not gonna you're not gonna make it a swift end. No, you want to take your time, man. You want to surgically, take out your enemy. You want to be a prolonged ass whooping, as it were. And that's what we're seeing. What is that? Is that Psalms? I will beat down his foes. Let me see. 89:14. And it said, plague them that hate him. Let's see. I believe it is. Oh man, that's not it. That's still a good one. Justice and judgment, Psalms 89:14. Lord willing, I still get that precept. Justice and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall go before thy face. So the habitation of the throne of Yahawashi is justice and judgment. And that's why you seeing the Lord beginning to judge this place, man. Oh man, where is it? Is it 89? I think it's 89. That's it. The Wadi Yahawashi. Yup. Psalm chapter 89 and verse 23. And I will beat down his foes before his face and plague them that hate him. You see that? Now you go into that word plague in a simple Google definition. That word means, of course, matter of fact, let's just grab it, man. I went to this several times. Let's go into it again. That word plague, it's a contagious bacterial disease, right? But also in the verb form, it says cause continual trouble or distress to. See that? So these certain closings, these certain grocery stores leaving, it's causing a continual trouble and distress too. So much so that the people are going to be, man, they're going to lose their shit, as it were. You're going to really see the mindset of these people at a all-time high of get it how you live, man. Okay? Back in Jeremiah chapter 49, chapter 51 and verse 6, it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance, and he will render unto her a recompense. You see? Yeah, the Lord is paying this place back. And it's happening by the way of the plagues. And we just looked up a simple Google definition of that word plague, whereas in a verb form, causing a continual trouble and distress too. So the Lord is prolonging his ass whooping. He could have ended it swiftly, man, but he's taking his time beating down his foe. When you have an enemy and you got your foot on their neck, man, you ain't making it a swift battle. Nah, man, you taking your time and executing all the judgment that you want on it. It says Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. And ultimately, these people are going to get burned up by these certain nations, man. Where they say, these shall hate the whore and burn her with fire and make her desolate. See? It says Babylon is suddenly falling. Yeah, all these abrupt closing. The retail apocalypse. These certain box stores closing, man. Everything is moving to a online what is the word I want to use? An online resource gathering, as it were, for a lack of better words. Everything is being ordered online now. And that's part of this man trying to set up his MOTB, that B system. You had a huge news, man, with the UK announcing the digital ID you're not going to be able to work. Well, that's a precursor to that micro C hip. Okay? Again, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take bond for her pain? If so be, she may be healed. Yeah, Lord being facetious. Because ain't nothing that's going to heal this place. No terrors, you know, no job losses, trying to make the economy strong, no cutting of rates, none of that. Okay? It says we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one to into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Right? You done ran your course now. And now the Lord is bringing you down. Okay? I think I got one more article. We get a couple more precepts, we'll close it out. As you see, hey, Babylon is almost out of time. You know, that's his biggest enemy. He don't have enough time. He done did all of this laboring from his youth. And now is at the crunch time. It says coffee giant cutting 900 jobs, closing stores nationwide. And this about Starbucks, man. Okay? It says Starbucks, the world's largest coffee house chain, is reportedly planning to lay off hundreds of workers and close stores nationwide as part of its 1 billion reconstructing plan. You see that? Even these certain companies think they're gonna be able to last, man. You think you can restructure your model? If we close these stores and cut back on this and change this ingredients, we might have a plan. Nope, it's not gonna work. It says CEO Brian Nicole announced in a memo shared on its news blog Thursday the company plans to cut 900 jobs and decrease its total stores in North America by roughly 1%, bringing its total to nearly 18,300 for the end of the fiscal year. See that? It says over the next 12 months, we can also plan to uplift more than 1,000 locations to introduce greater texture, warmth, and layered design. You see these crazy ass words they want to use? It's over with, man. There's nothing you're going to be able to do to make America great again, to bring this place back. Absolutely nothing. Second Ezra chapter 9, in verse 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And these are part of the visitations, and we're seeing them. All right, these things are being clearly made manifest. Now, I do have an article, and I'm gonna just touch on the headlines. Are we witnessing the fall of the American empire? Well, we can answer that question exclusively. Hell yes. You had this dude, Stone Cold Steve Austin, said, "Give me a hell yeah." Are we witnessing the fall of the American empire? Well, give me a hell yeah. Okay? It says Mike Duncan has covered the rise and fall of empires on his podcast, The History of Rome and Revolutions, and he knows what it looks like when things fall apart, right? So yeah, we in a beautiful time of things falling apart, man. Okay? And these things are gonna continue to grow in its perfection. Matter of fact, of course they want you to subscribe to get unlimited access. But like I said, hey, the headline says it all. Yeah, we're witnessing the fall of the American empire, man. Rome 2.0. It was once at its height, and now the Lord's bringing it down. Hey, if you look at the fall of Rome, their army was too spread out. The money was getting devalued. They was putting metal inside the denarius, you know. So yeah, we're right there. The money here is being devalued on a high rate. It ain't that the goods are going up, it's that the money value is going down, man. Okay? And these things are being manifest through the job losses, you know, through these certain legislations that they're pushing for that cause trouble and turmoil on the people. All these certain decrees is going to lead to the fall of America, Babylon the Great, man. All right? Now let's get this and close it out. I believe that's the point, man. You know, we have to understand what time and season we're in. You know, to act accordingly, because it's only going to get worse, man. It's not going to get any better. First Peter chapter 4 and verse 6. For this cause was the gospel preached, also to them that are dead, that they might be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to the Most High in the Spirit. But the end of all things is at hand. Yeah, we're witnessing it. The end of all things pertaining to this kingdom is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Yeah, and that's what we're commanded to do. Be sober minded, not being swayed with these certain doctrine, and continue to watch unto prayer, man. Praying that we're accounted worthy to escape all these things that are set to come on the planet Earth. Matter of fact, I said that was the end. Let's grab this. I want to grab it in the NLT. Luke 21. And let's change it. Luke 21. And let me make this blue letter. Red letter slack. Luke chapter 21. And yeah, we'll start at 29. It says, then he gave them this illustration. Notice the fig tree or any other tree. When the leaves come out, ye know without being told that summer is near. Right. We at the, man, summer is near, man. The kingdom of heaven is right there. It says, in the same way, when ye see all these things taking place, you can know the kingdom of the Most High is near. I tell you the truth. This generation, right? This generation, we're in that same generation. This generation will not pass from the scene. Hey, this is the Most High's movie, man. We're just characters, and we're cast into the role of the elect, because those are the ones who are destined to be saved. I tell you the truth. This generation shall not pass from the scene until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will never disappear. Watch out. Don't let your hearts, that word heart go back to the Hebrew word lod, which means your mind. Don't let your hearts be dull, right? Continue to be sharp, continue to watch for the prophecies. Continue to study, to pray, It says, don't let your hearts be dull by carousing and drunkenness and by the worries of this life. Don't let that day catch you unaware like a trap, for that day will come upon everyone living on the earth. Keep alert at all times and pray that ye might be strong enough to escape these coming horrors. Right? This is going to be a horror story, man. You ever seen that those certain used to come on FX, American Horror Story? Yeah, this is going to be a real American Horror Story, man. All right? And we're commanded to keep alert at all times and pray that ye might be strong enough to escape these coming horrors. See that? And to stand before the Son of Man. And that's what our prayer needs to be, man. Ultimately, of the elect. So these things are going to get worse before they get better. So I pray this has been edifying. Only of all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham. Bahasham Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to our teachers, the apostles, and elders great millstone. Till the next time, shalom. Hey, the water for tuning in. Shalom.